Whiskey lovers, rejoice! We've got a top tip for sprucing up your dud bottles of bourbon. And it all starts with an apple. If you've got a few apple peels sitting on the kitchen counter, you might want to keep them around a little longer. That's because apple peels are incredibly versatile. You can use a few thin slices to make tea, apple syrup, and more. And they're particularly useful for the bourbon lovers out there. Let's say you received a less than stellar bottle of bourbon during the holidays.
Come on, that's not Lagavulin.
Yeah, it is.
Instead of letting it gather dust in a corner, you can use apple peels to infuse the bourbon with a subtle, fruity undertone. Apple peels create a bourbon infusion that's reminiscent of Jack Daniel's Tennessee Apple, perfect for those who enjoy a touch of natural sweetness in their drink. And if you're worried that the apple peels might overpower the bourbon's bold character, there's no need to fret. Since you're not adding whole apple slices, the flavor extracted from the peels will be gentle, enhancing the bourbon rather than hogging its spotlight. There's more to this process than just taste, though. While you may not typically think about nutrition while sipping bourbon, apple peels are packed with antioxidants and beneficial polyphenols. So you're not only enhancing the flavor, but also giving your bourbon a nutritional boost. Additionally, holding on to and recycling these peels is a meaningful step towards making your kitchen more eco-friendly. For obvious reasons, it's probably best not to use your prized bourbons for this infusion. Keep those top-shelf bottles for sipping or mixing classic cocktails. Instead, look for a cheap, unopened bottle of bourbon. Grab a large jar that can comfortably hold the bourbon plus all the apple peels. For a 750 milliliter bottle, you'll need the peels from 6 to 7 apples. Uncap the bourbon bottle and pour its contents into the jar, making sure the peels are fully submerged. If you want to add some further complexity towards your bourbon infusion, you can spice it up by adding a cinnamon stick and 1 or 2 cloves. These seasonings will add warm and spicy flavors that complement the natural sugar of the apples. Either way, you'll want to seal the jar securely and let your concoction sit at room temperature to age. If you choose to use them, strain out the seasonings after 2 days. A week later, strain out the apple peels. And that's that. You can store your fresh apple bourbon like any regular bottle of flavored whiskey, either at room temperature or in the fridge if you like it cold. It should stay good for a couple of weeks. During that time, you can use it just like regular bourbon. Enjoy it neat or mix it into bourbon-based cocktails. It's your choice. If you've got a hankering for an apple bourbon cocktail, the easiest way to use this infusion is by substituting it for regular bourbon in classic recipes, such as the Manhattan or Old Fashioned. While the familiar bourbon twang will remain, those added apple notes will bring it all the way forward in terms of fruitiness. If you're mixing for folks who like their drink light and flavorful, these drinks are bound to be a hit. But if you're not in the mood for sipping it neat or mixing a party drink, you can also enjoy the infusion in a casual hot toddy, also known as a bourbon cough syrup. It's just bourbon mixed with hot water. Sweeten it a little bit with some honey if the alcohol burn is a bit too much. By the end, you'll have a steaming cup of soothing, apple-y smokiness. However you choose to use it, your apple-infused bourbon will no doubt go down great. So why not go ahead and give it a try?